Welcome to Smart ADHD Bite-Size, where we distill a previous episode down to around 5 minutes, giving you everything you need in a quick and digestible format. Today's Bite-Size is from episode 28, Procrastination and Motivation, Breaking the Cycle, featuring Jonathan Hassall, an ADHD and executive function coach. Number 1. Procrastination. What is it and why does it happen? So what gets in our way when we procrastinate, when we try and do something?
If we look at ADHD and procrastination, I prefer to say let's flip that and let's look at doing with ADHD. It's not like we never do anything. However, there's a few factors that are at play. For anyone to achieve or do anything, they have to be able to see the task, see themselves doing it, have the right resources to do it, including time, and convert it across into real time.
So it's about having the right resources and seeing those tasks across time, but that sounds pretty hard.
With ADHD, we usually skim at 30,000 feet. We see the tops of the mountains. We don't see all the details of the task. It's not that we can't figure it out. We know we can figure it out. If it was something that we'd never done before, it was difficult, we're probably going to give it attention because it's interesting. So then I've got to convert those tasks and resource them, which if we can't see the detail of the task, we're not going to resource it effectively. Then I have to find a place for it in time. Now, guess what? Everyone I've ever met with ADHD is effectively time blind.
So for us to do anything, we need to see the task clearly. We need to break down those tasks and, importantly, actually imagine ourselves doing those tasks, visualize ourselves doing the task in our brains. But it's giving those tasks a place in time that is really tricky for those of us with ADHD because we have time blindness. So I think we need to move on to the next section. Number 2, the illusion of motivation. There are times when I'm really motivated to do something, but other times my motivation tank feels like zero. Jonathan thinks we have motivation all wrong.
I called it the illusion of motivation because I became aware that all of my clients with ADHD were talking about motivation in a very consistent way. I've either got to really want to do it, it's got to be rewarding, an exciting thing I want to do, or it's got to be a very threatening thing. And it has to be close in time. That's a really dangerous approach to motivation because we're relying on a very big emotion, which is expensive. Then on top of that, we're relying on these external things to create that emotion. That's not me creating it. So I'm not in control of that.
ADHD brains often rely on big emotions, and we often use those emotions to get us to do those tasks. But that's dangerous, as Jonathan says. We're not in control, and utilizing those emotions is pretty exhausting.
We actually have this distorted perspective of what motivation is. So now if we do it the neurotypical way, we decide when we create motivation by imagining the task. We create the appropriate time because we can see it in the detail of the task. And we choose a time that works best for us, which is all lovely and internally driven. And all we have to do is practice that approach, and we can completely shift how we approach motivation and procrastination.
I've always relied on that big push of emotion or using urgency to do certain tasks or waiting until I felt in the mood. But there is another way. It's about creating motivation proactively instead of waiting for it to happen. Number 3, organic calendaring for time and energy. Most of us with ADHD struggle with time, but our calendar can be our super tool. Jonathan uses his calendar for everything.
I never miss anything. I'm never stressed by time. I get more done than I ever thought possible because my calendar is a topographical map of my time and my energy. I see my life in my calendar. I can see when I'm active. I can see when I've planned to have breaks and rests. So I can make my time very reliable. Then before you know it, it's very easy to set yourself up for success.
To be honest, this sounded too good to be true. So I did ask Jonathan what his secret was.
I call it organic calendaring. So it's very simple. When something pops into my head that I think I want to do, I put it in my calendar straight away. You put in anything you want to happen, including your rests and breaks in the day. The other thing is too, you abandon lists. Lists are only useful to use as a default working memory to capture, like process or break down the steps. As soon as you've got it in a list, you need to move it into the calendar where it's allocated to time.
Simple, maybe, but this could change your life. I definitely think so. Number 4, the CIMAA model to get stuff done. So how do you actually get stuff done? Let's go through the CIMAA model from the book Decoding Doing by Jonathan and his co-author Madeline O'Reilly.
C in the CIMAA stands for connect. So that's where we're effectively making a cost-benefit argument. We have to be a bit careful there because sometimes we can exaggerate the cost if it's something we don't like, or if it's something we're really excited about, we can exaggerate the benefit and minimize the cost.
So that's the first stage, C, but we've got I, M, A, and the final A.
The second stage, the imagine stage, which is my favorite bit. That's where we solve a lot of the problems. What we've got to do is we've got to break it down into clear process steps. So I can see the process. And straight away, I've just created the motivation. Then I sit down and I do the task. I've called up the motivation. I remembered it's realistic and doable. So now as I'm activating, I'm doing it. The last day is about achievement. So it's about being able to stop regularly and say, what worked well today? What didn't? What would I do again? What would I change?
So for a practical example of the CIMAA method, you can listen to the full episode. I think that's pretty amazing. That's the end of this bite-sized episode. We'll see you in the next one.